opening round games. Third straight NCAA appearance for 13 seed Boise State. The Beavers hosting for the fourth time in 5 years here from Gill Coliseum. It's certainly a packed house here, and when we're looking at the Albany region, we know most of the teams that are advancing on Boise State and Oregon State looking to push their way through to join the others in the round of 16. The winner will go on to play Gonzaga. As we say hello and welcome in, Mary Murphy, Tiffany Green here with you. Always a great atmosphere when you're here at Gill Coliseum. Now, if you like offense and certainly three-pointers, then you're going to love this game because both of these teams are great from beyond the arc.
Without a doubt, this Oregon State team is built from the outside in. They have 5 players who can shoot the three with great efficiency. They shoot about 40%. They make 9 a game. They love to shoot that three. And
on the other side, you have Brady Hodgins, who is leading the way for Boise State, the leading scorer and best three-point shooter for the Broncos.
5 games where she's made 3 threes. The 5'8" junior out of Pasco, Washington, wants to have the game of her life today at Gill.
And let's take a look at tonight's Capital One starting lineups. Jade Christopher, the transfer from Kansas, has run the point for the Broncos, and boy, what a difference she has made for Gordy Presnell's team. On the other side for Oregon State, you've got Destiny Slocum, a difference maker on offense, so it's a battle of point guards as well. As Slocum made a transfer in from Maryland, and wow, what a year she's had here in Corvallis.
And a different starter for Oregon State. Maddie Washington gets a start over 6'8" Joe Grimmick. Grimmick had started the last 5, so Scott Ruick changing that up, and the ability to bring 6'8" off the bench. It's a nice option.
Definitely a nice option, as Washington, the junior out of Las Vegas, number 3 in white for Oregon State, underway here. And getting it going quickly is Marta Ermida, the senior out of Madrid, Spain. She's been playing her best ball over the last month for the Boise State Broncos.
I think that's great. If you can come down, run your first set, and make a shot, everyone else just kind of relaxes.
Pivik pass it in the corner to Slocum. Slocum off the mark, but Pivik, the team's leading rebounder from her guard position, creates another opportunity, and then Taya Corisdale knocks it down.
She was terrific in that huge upset loss to Washington in the quarterfinals of the Pac-12 tournament in Las Vegas. Corisdale picking up right where she left off.
Coming off a couple of double-doubles in that tournament, back the other way. Again, the Broncos with the bucket, and this is going to be an up and down, quick tempo ball game for both of these teams. In the corner, Corisdale asking for it. 2 players converge. Pivik left wide open. The 3 off the mark. Jade Christopher, who's so tough in transition, showing off some handles. And Ermida once more, no good.
Slocum will push in transition.
She's a player that you just have to watch out for at all times. Great assist there to Pivik, and that ignites the crowd early on.
Yeah, the crowd is already in like fourth quarter form. The push ahead by Slocum. She could have taken this shot. Move without the basketball. Pivik with the finish. Slocum, see ya. Out of Meridian, Idaho.
Michaela Pivik at the line. You talk about the upset loss in the quarterfinals of the Pac-12 tournament to Washington. I think that shocked everybody for the Beavers, and so it was a time for the team to be able to regroup. They had a chance to practice on their own after that without any coaches to say, hey ladies, let's gather ourselves and come out ready for the NCAA tournament.
They may have preferred that. They're probably happy the coaches went on the road recruiting.
Slocum with the offensive foul. Scott Ruick who has led his team to 6 straight 20-win seasons, 5 times over Pac-12 Coach of the Year. And in his 9 seasons here in Corvallis, man, has he done an amazing job of building this program really from the ground up.
Yeah, you could do a 30-30 on what where it started here. The fan base, maybe 10 people plus the custodial staff and folks working the tables. It is just almost a miracle what he has turned this into.
Alumni of Oregon State, graduated in 1991, down low to Maddie Washington.
So important for Post to make themselves available when the littles are in trouble.
Already out to an 8-4 lead is Oregon State. For Boise State, back-to-back years as regular season and tournament champions out of the Mountain West.
The passing of Destiny Slocum. Head up, bust through it, keep thinking, keep looking. And Washington's like, I'm right here waiting for you.
Averaging 5 assists a game was Slocum.
Which is only averaging 27 minutes a game. I mean, they bring Aaliyah Goodman off the bench at the point, and she was the 6th player of the year in the Pac-12 conference.
First time they bestowed that honor, so a ton of depth for Scott Ruick, and off to a great start is Maddie Washington quickly with 4 points.
She averages 4 points, so she's having a great game already in the first quarter.
Beavers on a 7-0 run.
Great pass.
Here's Hodgins, 14 and blue, taking it right to Corsdale. Corsdale didn't give in.
That's a nice defense. Retreat without fouling. Washington's like heating up down low, like give me the ball and get out of the way.
Slocum working off the screen, showing off the quickness. The scoop layup won't go. Washington with the rebound.
The not good news for Boise State is then Joe Grimmick at 6'8" comes off the bench, shooting 60%.
And like you said, many teams around the country don't have an answer for that type of height.
Boise starts 2 for 2, since then 0 for 5. So they go to their bench early.
Marika Vanderschaft, number 31, in blue, 5th-year senior out of Washington. And Joe Grimmick checking in as well. Big round of applause for the senior out of Poland.
I'm happy about the performance of Maddie Washington as well. Maddie's dad, a pit boss at the Win in Vegas. Booker.
That's pretty sweet. Ashanti Coleman. And that one was deflected by Corsdale. Corsdale thus far having a great evening on the defensive end.
Oh, what a great matchup at the point. Boy, both these teams so aggressive defensively.
Oregon is one of those teams offensively and defensively that gets the job done. Top 20 in the country, both scoring offense and scoring defense.
Oh, I didn't know if that was going to be over the back on Grimmick. Just battling to try to box her out. Vanderschaft gets that foul.
Slocum over to Pivot. Pivot just short.
Solid defense. Make Pivot work. Nothing easy on that baseline.
And Hodgins, who had 16 points in that Mountain West championship game against Wyoming, was the tournament MVP. Christopher out to Coleman. Coleman, the mid-range jumper falls. The extended elbow.
Doing a beautiful job of exploring the paint, realizing there's a whole lot of height in there, and then kicking out to her shooters. Great on-the-ball defense.
Coleman circling around, the ball bouncing in the hands of Oregon State. 3 to go on the shot clock. Won't fall, but Pivic is right there for the O board. Pivic standing at 5'10", just goes after it and crashing the boards. Well, the Beavers off to a great start. Destiny Slocum has seen the floor very well, and her team getting on the good foot here in the big dance. For Zykira Rice helped lead the Zags past Little Rock in that last game, and they will move on to the round of 32. They will face either Oregon State or Boise State, the winner of this one, as we look at the Beavers and breaking them down by the numbers this season. I mean, wow, again, top 20 in so many different ranks, but you go down to that rebounding margin. They're having a great success here this afternoon.
Yeah, right now they have 10 rebounds, Boise State with just 2, so they're +8 already. And Zykira, yes, it is very hot in Gill. We're all doing that.
Well, things really heated up from that second quarter on against Little Rock after Gonzaga jumped out to a large lead, and then you add to that all the fans that have filed into Gill Coliseum. Let me tell you, Beaver fans do not play about their basketball.
They're serious business. And that restroom line is long.
Brady Hodgins from the corner, short there. Pivic coming up with it.
And there's no cuts in Corvallis.
No.
Slocum sits, Aaliyah Goodman on the floor.
Katie McWilliams, the turnaround.
Boise's going to look to get it going. And what did they say to us yesterday? First good threes going up.
Gordy Presnell is not afraid about his team taking the shot from long range.
256 of them so far this season.
Aaliyah Goodman, as you mentioned, number 1 in white, running the point, Pac-12 Sixth Player of the Year.
Great defense, stop that drive.
Well, Boise State really making it difficult. They're complimented with the turnover. And to the bucket. The hoop goes.
What a take. Taking on the length of Pivic. Hey, let's go coast to coast. Great trap. Can't get it out of there. Head on the swivel. Here you go, Katie McWilliams, right to you.
Your mother, Karen Murphy Hodgins, played at Washington.
Full court pressure by Boise State, giving it different looks.
Goodman using the screen. The 3 won't fall. But Mary, when you look at these two teams on paper, they're pretty similar.
Very much so. The size differential, though, at some different positions for Oregon State. Remick, what Pivic's able to do, the length at the guard spot. But yeah, this Boise State team is built. They're very disappointed in their seeding. They would have much preferred a flip-flop. They wanted to be at 12 and playing in the first game. But they got Oregon State here in the second.
Coming in at 28-4 on the year. The Broncos trailing by 3. Well, second round coverage of the Division I Men's Basketball Championship continues tonight on CBS, TBS, TNT, and True TV. For more information on game times and listings, go to ncaa.com. How about the 12 seed Liberty picking up their first ever tournament win, taking down the 5 seed Mississippi State. For the men.
Oh man, you just freaked me out. I was like, what? We've got so many things going on at this table. It's hard to keep up on life.
But this is a great time of year. The madness is already underway. Teams trying to make it to Tampa for the women's Final Four, April 5th and 7th.
But in the first quarter, you just need to settle in and kind of find yourself, and that's exactly what will get you going.
Ryan Luford, 2-time All-Mountain West selection. And coming back the other way.
How you gonna stop that, Tim?
Yeah. Well, we said we would see a great matchup at the point guard position. 2 guards who were very speedy, great assisters as well. You see Taya Corisdale running the floor.
Hard.
Yes. Number 5 in white. Slocum in the corner. Eight to go on the shot clock. Working on Armida. And wow, how does she do it, Mary?
Just keeps her head up and gets so low and just waits for you to flinch, move, adjust, and then she goes.
And Christopher just loses the ball there, picked up by Tess Amundsen. Lupfer going forward again.
I love that confident setup. A little step back, make a 3 even longer.
Makes it look all the more impressive if it's able to go down. Slocum looks over to her coach. Slocum working on Christopher, nowhere to go, picks up her dribble, turns around, and just short. World. Big start for Oregon State, and it was led by Destiny Slocum.
Getting everybody involved. Great pass. There you go, Joe Grimmick. Get to work. And then, hey, let's just go to the bucket ourselves. Just bust right through the line of scrimmage for 2. Beautiful job there with the assist. She had 3 in the first quarter. Tied up, no problem. Gets it to Maddie Washington. Finds Joe Grimmick inside. At Maryland, her freshman year, averaged 6 assists a game. This year, a little under 5, not playing as many minutes, but boy, is she an integral part of what is going on here in Corvallis.
Walked into College Park as a McDonald's All-American and went on to win the National Freshman of the Year award, and then decided to transfer out, was looking for a place to land, originally from Idaho.
Spent last year as the scout team, and so she would be Jordan Canada. She would just imitate all these different players on weekends when her team was traveling. She'd drive home to Meridian, so it was a humbling experience. It was a learning experience, and boy, she took the court this year ready to go.
Parents originally from the Portland area, so just about an hour and a half away from Corvallis, and then you just look around the state of Oregon. Not too far away,
yeah.
Young lady by the name of Sabrina Ionescu.
Yeah, down the road. There were a couple of freshmen of the years 2 years ago, and one was Destiny, and one was Sabrina, and they're just that close, same conference, same state.
Oregon will take on Indiana in their second round game tomorrow from Eugene. Maddie Washington again got off to a quick start. Continues to add to her point total now with 6.
She is playing with a focus and an intensity that is just really raising the bar for this team inside. Big 3.
Amundsen answering back the other way.
Boy, they just need a sliver of space, and that ball is going up.
Well, if you're Scott Ruick and you're evaluating that first quarter for Oregon State, they were plus on a lot of different areas, rebounds, points in the paint, and free throws made. We'll see if they can continue to build on that here in this second quarter.
Great catch. One downside for Oregon State, just 1 of 5 from 3, and towards the last month of the season, they just did not shoot the ball with the same proficiency that they had most of the year.
We mentioned at the top of the show that they're 3rd best in the country, 4th best in the country from three-point range. Offensive rebound, creating yet another opportunity.
But the equation is, you still have to respect it, so it stretches you out, and it opens up those gaps for O-boards, and it opens up single coverage in the paint.
Forsdale, the extra pass, nice recognition as Pivik was there.
McWilliams with the pass inside. Corsdale corrals it, the double. Really beautiful job attacking is Boise State, but just, you got to pay better attention on that weak side, drop in the hole and contest. You can't give up that easy bucket, and one.
From one Washington native to another, Michaela Pivik out of Linwood.
Get a feel for all the talent in the state of Washington, don't you? Oh, I thought that was going.
So Lupfer trying to work on Katie McWilliams, and Pivik is there once again. When you're breaking down just the way she rebounds the basketball, how is she so good at doing it from a guard position?
It's just a great sense of timing. She's played just about every position for this team. She's been the point guard. She can run 2, 3, 4, and she can do stuff like that.
And a block there from Lupfer.
Pass inside. The block. They're going to get Destiny for a push-off.
So Slocum whistled for her second personal foul.
That's a big development because you sit her down. Time to go to work if you're Boise State. Coleman has 2 personal fouls for Boise as well.
Christopher finds Hodgins. Didn't go there.
You got to be fearless in the paint. I mean, these folks are getting after it for boards.
Goodman, zip pass over to McWilliams. And how about it, Katie McWilliams? Out of Salem, Oregon, just nearby. The crowd loves it. And why not?
Great pass. Whip it across Aaliyah Goodman. And then Katie McWilliams says, this is my little post move with the jump hook. Williams playing some sky ball. Her favorite player, Kevin Durant. Now Kevin's, a little longer than that, but very similar play. And Katie's dad, Nick, is the basketball coach at South Salem, Oregon High School. He's been taking he stepped down, so he's not the head coach, so he can come and watch games this summer. I think he's going to go back and be the head coach after this. What a 4-year run by Katie McWilliams.
The last player on this team with Final Four experience, 6th straight NCAA tournament. Great success, especially over the last 4 years. They've been one of the most successful programs in the country under the direction of Scott Ruick.
Grimmick back on the floor.
Lupfer misses there, and look, Oregon State has been winning the rebounding battle 20-8 here.
Yeah, that's winning big.
Yeah. Pivik with the turnaround and able to corral her own miss.
Just so strong. 8 assists on Ted-made baskets by Oregon State.
Again, sharing the basketball, making that extra pass, looking for the best shot. And Pivot, how does she just always have a nose for the basketball?
She's just everywhere you need her to be. When you watch her play, it's similar to watching the Golden State Warriors. I mean, the ball just moves, unselfish. Find the best shot. Hunt for the best shot you can.
Corisdale at the line, shooting 2. Well, the NCAA Wrestling Championships conclude tonight in Pittsburgh. Catch the championship finals at 7 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. Plus, special off-the-mat coverage on ESPN3. Make sure you visit NCAA.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships.
Big possession for Boise State. They need to get this thing under 10 and get their offense cooking a little bit.
Instead, turn it over, stolen away by Aaliyah Goodman. She ticks it in. And just as you were saying, Mary, this is a possession that Boise State needs to take advantage of. They've been scoreless now for over 4 minutes. Finally getting that one to fall is Armida.
Nice job finding some space in that paint, but don't take it too far because 6'8" is just waiting for you. Back screen. Aaliyah Goodman, 6th Player of the Year in the Pac-12 Conference. The first year they've given the award. Great defense here. Stay with the play. Hunt for it. And then head on a swivel. Focus on it. First bucket she's made in a while was an over in Vegas.
And continuing to knock him down is the senior, Marta Armida.
She's having a game.
The Spaniard now with 7 points.
3 of 6 from the floor, couple rebounds.
Her team within 9.
So often when Goodman's on the floor, Destiny Slocum is sitting on the bench.
Remember, Slocum has 2 personal fouls
Wide
in
open.
the second quarter. In the corner, she's gonna knock it down. Ellie Warner, the redshirt junior.
A nice group of people here from Boise.
How about it? They made the drive just about 8 hours by car from here. And the Broncos are an 8-0 run. Rebound by Jade LaVille. Boise State coming in winners of their last 7. Off the mark there was Rachel Bowers.
They haven't lost since February 23rd at Utah State.
Quickly coming over to cover is Warner. Good defense here by the Broncos.
They're flying around.
Quick feet. And Bowers and Pivot fighting for the rebound. I'm impressed for as much of a track meet as this is. Both of these teams are doing a pretty good job of taking care of the basketball.
5 turnovers by Oregon State, just 2 for Boise. And here they come.
The Broncos stampeding now with a 10-0 run in the Corvallis. Yeah. And Pivot back the other way. Nice cut.
We're sitting right here looking at the angle. That was almost like you can't see it before it happens pass.
It's like a timing route in football, you know?
Exactly right. Let it fly.
You live and you can die by the 3.
But you got to dance with what brought you. That's what you do. That's what you got to come out here and try to accomplish.
Under 2 minutes to go here in the first half. And the offensive foul by Pivot.
You got Slocum at the point, and then you have Aaliyah Goodman at the point. Head up. But to put enough on that it could get off the floor and just elevate right into your hands. That is picture perfect. Boise State's doing a great job of keeping the ball out of Grimmick's hands. She's just 1 for 1 so far. She has not hurt them.
Boise State down by as many as 14.
That's a force.
They trimmed the lead to 6, coming up empty on that offensive possession. Aaliyah Goodman, the Oregon product, 3-time Oregon State Player of the Year out of high school, and the sophomore is continuing to build.
Goodman, just a beautiful job. So on Corvallis, you've got Goodman, and you've got Destiny Slocum, and down the road, you got Maite Cazorla and Sabrina Ionescu, 2 of the best backcourts in America.
Just a reminder to our viewers, coming up on the Northwestern Mutual halftime report, Baylor and Abilene Christian. So talking Stanford and UC Davis, and how about Iowa State and New Mexico State? That's all coming up in under a minute of game time.
Boise State averages 75 points a game, approaching half, 25 points.
Seville with Goodman in her face, going after it was Ermita, but the taller Thea Corsdale coming down with the board. Pivot running the floor.
Boy, is that a backbreaker. The leak out, the finish by Pivot at the other end. And this crowd rises at halftime.
Christopher quiets them just before the buzzer. Jade Christopher got it off just in time. And Oregon State goes into the locker room, but boy, there's a little momentum there from Christopher before the buzzer.
Hit the mute button, fans. Sit on down. What a shot.
Well, after the break, it'll be the halftime report. Oregon State on top, 36-28. We've got a good one from Corvallis.
Report. Welcome inside the studio. Maria Taylor alongside Rebecca Lobo and Andy Landers. It is day 2 of round 1 of the NCAA Women's Basketball Championships. And guys, we've already seen some great close games. We had 2 overtime games yesterday, and we're a little more than halfway through. Have you enjoyed the run so far?
Really good games. I'm impressed with Boise State, their ability to defend an Oregon State team that has been good on the offensive end of the floor all year long. Boise seems to be in tune with what Oregon State wants to do. They have pressure on the three-point shooters. Oregon State, a very good three-point shooting team, yet they're able to help and rotate without getting hurt. They're keeping Oregon State from putting points on the board.
And then right now as well, we've got the 1 seed Baylor and the 2 seed Stanford doing what 1s and 2s are supposed to do, putting a beat down on their opponent.
I think they're supposed to roll in the first round game. Let's roll through some of those highlights. Let's start out with Baylor, the #1 overall seed, taking on Abilene Christian. If you haven't heard Kim Mulkey sing the song, Coach, do you want to try it for us?
Abilene.
Oh.
Abilene.
I believe in Abilene. Well, you see Baylor there just kind of going off, doing what they do best, finding ways to get it to their bigs like Kalani Brown and Lauren Cox.
Yeah, they've been terrific. Kalani Brown already with 10 points. Baylor has done a great job running the floor, getting out in transition.
Yeah, and you see early already, 32-3 right now. And one thing that we know about Baylor is that they use their bigs a lot. But what else would you like to see in a first-round game that makes sure that everything is kind of flowing effectively for the Baylor Lady Bears?
Well, you'd like to see them do what they have done all year long. They lead the country in shot blocks. They average about 7 a game. And I think sometimes people overlook the importance of blocked shots. I think that they tear the heart and soul out of the person that's shooting them, but they also initiate some transition. And Baylor is good with transition, even with their bigs running the floor. So that rebounding the basketball and then doing what they do on the offensive end of the floor, which is come down. If you don't score in transition, be patient, get it to one of those bigs.
One thing that's a really good sign for them right now, we know how much emphasis they put on getting the ball in the paint, whether it's through dribble penetration or their bigs. They're 3 for 3 from the three-point line. And if they can continue to be efficient, they probably won't ever be high volume from the three-point line, but if they can continue to be efficient like they have been all season, that just adds one other dimension to their already dominant postgame.
Don't you feel at times like there's some things with Baylor that they probably can do that we don't know about simply because
they
don't do. They've chosen what they want to do, and they're very good at it, but that doesn't mean they can't do some other things like hit threes.
And there was a great play in the first half of their game tonight where Kalani Brown came out and contested a shot at the three-point line on the baseline and then ran the floor hard, caught it, and finished inside. If she can keep her motor running at a 10 in this tournament on both ends of the floor, it's just going to up their level again.
Sure. No stopping that. I mean, Baylor, they averaged 45 points
with the motor
paint.
running.
Catch up to it. We had Carolina taking on Cal, a matchup between the 8 and 9 seeds. It actually started out very close, but that was only because Christina Nigwe only had 3 points in the first half, and the game changes when she starts to open it up.
Yeah, Carolina did a great job on her defensively. They swarmed around her, especially in the first half. So then what happened? The guards for Cal started making outside shots, opened things up a little bit inside for Nigwe. She ended with 18 points, 22 rebounds. But when this team is shooting threes, they're dangerous. 11 of 26 from the three-point line today.
Ooh, and Nigwe, she had her 32nd double-double on this season, just the third player in Division I history to ever do that in a single season. And you see their Stanford rolling. Rebecca mentioned that. New Mexico State and Iowa State, a 16-point lead right now for the Cyclones. Okay, well, we're already seeing Oregon State trying to have to work hard on this one, but Michaela Pivic, a great job with the backdoor cut. The Beavers have a slight edge.
This halftime report is brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Spend your life living. Spend your life living.
Welcome inside the studio. Maria Taylor alongside Rebecca Lobo and Andy Landers. We have put so many games in the book. I can't even remember how many, but I know that we're on our way to finishing up 32 games in the first round. Let's get you caught up on exactly what's been going down on Saturday. Tennessee taking on UCLA. Tennessee's made it to every single NCAA tournament, but UCLA simply doesn't care. Onionware lays it in there, and the Vols start to mount a comeback, Rebecca, to tie this game up.
And they did it on the back of Cassie Kushkitawa. They got it inside. They were able to cut this, eventually take the lead.
It was a 20-4 run that tied this ball game up for the Lady Vols, but then Kennedy Burke started doing the things that Pac-12 all-defensive team players do.
Kennedy Burke had 2 huge steals late in the game. She also was efficient on the offensive end, 19 points on the night.
All right, and then UCLA again going coast to coast is Onionware, and we're used to seeing bigs take it coast to coast because that's what's been happening all tournament long, Coach, just so you know. So Tennessee, for just the second time since 2009, they're bounced in the first round. UCLA, they get to move on, and they take on Maryland. The Terps are hosting in College Park. That game will be coming your way on Monday. Central Michigan taking on Michigan State. It's the Chippewas. It's the Spartan. It's 8-9, so you know it's going to be close. Raina Frost knocking down the 3.
Oh, how good was she today? 34 points, 25 in the first half. Did it inside, did it outside, did it from 3, and did it with the game on the line.
Yeah, Coach, it was her
did it.
She did it, baby.
Game. It was impressive, but it came down to this play. Look, we're going lower in under 3 minutes to play in the game. Great play by Cauley there. Then Sydney Cooks. She's going to find a little space to lay it in here against the Chippewas. And mounting the comeback. It was a back-and-forth game, guys.
Swapping baskets.
Yes. I love this shot.
Big time. She said, I'll get us this game. Just stepped back and stroked it. Look at the little clear out here. Nice.
And that was with less than 10 seconds to play. Cauley knocking down that shot. That would ultimately be the game winner because this is the last chance for the Chippewas. Reyna gives it up, and then the final shot,
tough one.
No good. Yeah, 1-point win for Michigan State in this one. And they get to survive and advance. Notre Dame, they're the 1 seed, and the winner of this game is exactly who Michigan State gets to play. And look at that.
1 seeds ought to be able to do things like that. Little alley-oop, steal balls, go the length of the floor in transition. As we know, Notre Dame is terrific because of plays like this. They were great all day inside with Shepard and Turner. Turner 8 of 10, Shepard 9 of 15. Big days from the outside, the perimeter, the guards heated up. And here's your favorite play of the day. Shepard, the center, with the steal and the layup.
Coast to coast, baby.
Coast to coast, 15th double-double of the season for Jess Shepard. Look at your matchup. Notre Dame taking on Michigan State. Now, Michigan State has lost each of the last 6 meetings against Notre Dame, but it should be a fun one on Monday. Kentucky taking on Princeton for the 6-11 matchup, and Princeton playing the Princeton offense.
Oh, running a little offense.
Yeah.
A little penetrating kick. Find the open man, knock down the open jump shot. They gave Kentucky trouble with that. Kentucky's defense very aggressive, gave up some layups, but then Kentucky came back behind plays like this. Macy Morris, a 3-point specialist, she can hit shots like that. I thought Taylor Murray was terrific late in the game. With about 4 minutes left, she had a steal, a full court drive for a layup, a drive and a half court for a layup, and a big 3 to separate Kentucky from Princeton.
Sure, so despite being down 4 at the half, Kentucky survives, and they'll get NC State and Westmore and that Wolfpack on Monday. You are watching the Northwestern Mutual Halftime Report.
NCAA Women's Championship presented by Capital One and Side-Gill Coliseum. Let me tell you, it has been pretty much not only a track meet, but the teams have been zooming up and down the court. And amidst all of that, Oregon State up by 8, Mary, over Boise State. They put on a show in that first half.
They sure did. They have 10 assists on 14 baskets, and they are doing a great job. The story of the score. What got us where we are? Destiny Slocum, assist, head up. We talked about those 10 assists as one of the stories of the score. How about Aaliyah Goodman? Destiny gets into some foul trouble. You bring your 6th player of the year in, and it's a steal and go. And then Pivik, the best player in this country you've never heard of. 12 points, 8 rebounds, 4 of them on the offensive end, and 3 assists.
Talking about those helpers, they've assisted on 10 of those 14 made buckets for Oregon State. Meanwhile, for Boise State, again, down by just 8. And the Spaniard, Ermita, is continuing to keep the Broncos in it. She's got 9 now.
Yeah, that's how she started the ball game, and they need to find a couple people that they can really lean on and get some consistent scoring from. 9 different players have scored for Boise State.
And that's the type of complementary players they like to have, being able to go to literally anyone to score. 10 different players have led the team in scoring this season. 3 to go on the shot clock. Great defense by the Broncos.
Boy, no kidding. Outstanding.
In addition to assisting, how about Scott Ruick's group? 26 points in the paint, most of them coming by way of Pivik.
And the other benefit of that is 7 of 9 for Oregon State at the free throw line. When all you're doing is taking jump shots, you're not going to get to the line.
And we thought early on we would see a lot more trifectas falling as Oregon State 4th best in the country in percentage. This one out of the reach, and then Ermita hands it right back over, but Boise State has not gotten it going from beyond the arc. They've only been 5 of 15. It's been even worse for Oregon State, just 1 of 8.
But this Boise State team coming out in this 3rd quarter, they have put on their defensive caps, and they are getting it done.
Gordy Presnell and his crew looking for that signature win. They have yet to get out of the first round. This would be a huge one if they could take this one in Corvallis against the number 4 seed Oregon State, down by 6. Officiating include Michael Price, Natasha Cammey, and Cheryl Blue.
Played Louisville earlier this year. At home. I love that story of why Jeff Walz brought his team out.
Had the opportunity to spend some time, as in they invited the staff out last year when they were in the NCAA tournament in Louisville, said, hey, let's meet and greet. And in the process of that,
who does that?
They said, let's play each other. And Jeff Walz says, yeah, I'll go to Boise.
First,
No
I'll come to you first. That never happens with a top 10 ball club. So tip your cap to Jeff Walz.
And they're looking at the shot clock here.
This is our first review of the day. We are happy to say. I know this is Rebecca Lobo's favorite part of the ballgame.
This is when you can, get into some good conversation and, look at pictures over and over again just to make sure.
But for me, this really hurts Boise State. I think they had just really great momentum coming out of the break with those terrific defensive possessions.
Let me ask you a question. Being in this arena, we've talked so much just about this environment. Mary, you said the slowdown maybe hurts them, but what does the crowd do to them? Does it help or hurt them?
I think, if anything, it helps Boise State, because nobody wants to play in an empty gym where there's just a couple of people. You want to play in an environment like this, and whether they're for you or against you, I think it helps bring out the best in you.
So as they're continuing to review this shot clock, for Boise State, they're coming out, they're looking strong here. What are you saying in the huddles for both of these coaches?
Well, if you're Boise State, keep doing what we're doing on the defensive end. Offensively, let's spread the floor, set good screens, and when you take that shot, let's just believe it's going down, hold that foul through, and stay with it. It's going to start falling. They've cut it to 6. The biggest lead was 14, so they've chopped this thing in half, plus a little bit more. For Oregon State, you got to get back to what you were doing. Offensively, very sluggish off the start. The ball's getting kind of jammed up, stuck in corners, stuck in different places, and it's just not moving the way it did for so much of that first half.
So they will put 10 seconds on the shot clock after that review.
10 remaining on the shot clock.
Oregon State basketball.
Kind of an end-of-game situation. You got to get it and go. Pressure on the ball by Christopher. Dangerous.
Slocum quick to get it up. 5 working on the shot clock.
Offensive foul on Maddie Washington. Boy, post just tries so hard sometimes, and it's almost too hard. Let the guard do some of the work.
This Boise State team trying to wiggle their way back into it, as they led by 2 for just a quick second, but it's been Oregon State most of the way.
Shot clock is back to 10. I believe we are having shot clock issues here at Gill, because 10 is not a good number to start with.
Didn't give you much time to work with for as fast as these teams move, and certainly they are up-tempo. The officiating crew is getting that worked on.
Oregon State taking the opportunity to talk amongst themselves.
For everybody in Corvallis, that's a student here at Oregon State. They're on spring break. And for the Beavers team, they're just one of 6 out of the Pac-12 in the tournament. And thus far, Pac-12 teams have had great success. You see Arizona State downing UCF. We talked about UCLA with that big win over Tennessee. Stanford handling things against UC Davis. Christopher showing off the handles, working on Corisdale. 3 blocks now for the Beavers. Corisdale has been in on many of them.
Corisdale just holds her ground and says, I don't really care how many moves you have, I'm right here.
Brady Hodgins finds Armida, and Armida continuing to stroke it from long range. She's got 12 points now. She brings her team within 3.
They are just harassing Oregon State. And time again, Oregon State picking up the ball on that baseline, and Boise saying thank you.
You know, we asked Coach Presnell just who within the Mountain West kind of reminded him of Oregon State. The Wyoming team of whom they played in that Mountain West championship, and Slocum falls to the floor. She'll go to the line and shoot 2.
And the other similarity is the crowd at Wyoming and Laramie is outstanding. So accustomed to playing in this kind of environment.
Slocum will take 2. Boise State led 4-3. Since then, we haven't had any ties or lead changes. Just a reminder, the NCAA Women's Championship continues tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on ESPN2 with Louisville, the top seed in the Albany Regional, taking on Michigan in the second round. This game is also live on the ESPN app, so you can watch.
How about Michigan as an 8 seed beats Kansas State a 9 seed by 30 points.
Oh, this has been an exciting tournament thus far. The energy continuing to pick up here in Gill Coliseum. Pivot in the corner for 3 off the mark. Ashanti Coleman, who missed a lot of time in that first half due to foul trouble. Back on the floor for the rebound.
Yeah, they're happy to have her back. She shoots 52% from the floor. They have missed her on the floor offensively especially.
Rims in and out.
Slocum with the call.
Just tried to force that pass in there, stolen away by the Broncos. Armida,
Corner shooter.
trying to get it over to Hodgins. And Brady Hodgins pulls up from the elbow, won't fall.
Just 3 points for Hodgins so far today.
Nice pass up ahead to Washington, who was running the floor, and she's rewarded.
It's such a great feeling when you're a big and you run hard and the ball just kind of drops right into your hands for the layup. Michaela Pivic can play so many possessions. She is so many positions, just so valuable. She's only 5'9". She plays like she's 6'1". The perfect touch pass. And Maddie Washington, way to run the floor.
Michaela Pivic already with 4 assists, 9 rebounds to go along with 12 points. Michaela Pivic is a player who we've mentioned can do it all Pac-12 selection. Also on the track and field team, was a javelin thrower.
She's just not all academic. I think it's like a 3.89. Somebody gave her a minus and something. I don't know what. Started a charity here for that all the student athletes are involved in. I mean, you got a box, you want to check being a great person. That's Michaela Pivic.
Pivic finds a cutting Slocum, and Slocum goes to the floor hard, runs into Riker Vanderschaff.
The pass from Pivic, back door. That's a tough foul. She's just trying to come down after getting up in the air. I don't know. Yeah, that's a 50-50.
I agree with you there. Slocum misses the first of 2.
Williams sits. Goodman back.
Exciting to see those 2 guards on the floor for Scott Ruick with Destiny Slocum and Aaliyah Goodman. Brady Hodgins over to Ermita. Slocum, you see the intensity on her face. I wish we could just do an ISO cam on her, as Destiny Slocum's face was so intense.
So expressive. Do you know I'm open?
Vanderschaft picking up quick back-to-back fouls. She'll take a seat as Rachel Bowers, the freshman, checking back in out of New Hall, California. Pivot cut to the basket. A nice move there. Great ball control and body control as well.
Oregon State, a team that has got a bushel of out-of-bounds plays, and then mix them up well.
Getting it down to Bowers, backing down Washington.
How about that? You come in and you get right to work about one more time.
Going a little too fast there. Boise State doesn't have numbers, waits till everybody trails down the court. Again, going back to Bowers once more. This time draws the foul. All right, this one's picking up from Corvallis. A good one here in the opening round from Gill. Oregon State trying to move through to the second round. They would face off against Gonzaga in this Albany Regional. As you take a look at the number 1 seed, Louisville, in this pod, take on Michigan on Sunday at noon here on ESPN2. Boise State down by just 5. Mary, they go to the line. They have a couple of free throw attempts. How, in your mind, have they been able to stay in this one?
Well, they've played 11 players. 10 of them have scored. But the thing they've done is they have forced turnovers from Oregon State. 4 in this quarter. They have just 3.
All roads lead to the women's Final Four. That's the goal for each of these ball clubs, where coverage of the women's Final Four begins Friday, April 5th at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN2 and on the ESPN app. Pre-game show before the big games.
Three-quarter court pressure from Boise State, and Boise State believes. They got down big early, down 14. They have clawed almost all the way back. They're within 3.
Three to go on the shot clock. Nowhere to go for Goodman, heaving it up as Katie McWilliams shot clock violation. And a stout defensive effort for the Broncos.
Second time this quarter that they have forced a 30-second violation. And one of the best, the 4th best three-point shooting team in the country is Oregon State at home. They are 1 of 9 this afternoon.
This one will stay with Boise State. So after the miss, they get a second opportunity.
The ability to play 11 people and only have 3 turnovers is just an amazing accomplishment.
I would agree with you there, Mary.
You give yourself a chance.
Amita misses. And Oregon State continuing to win the rebounding margin, up by 18.
Boise, one of their last 7. Great help by Coleman. I mean, you can't draw it up any better. Help, recover, just be aware of the rotation, where you need to be. Coleman, help. Now a little backdoor cut, step over, help. Just be aware and be decisive.
And Pivot falls to the floor. She's fouled.
Boise State foul on number 21. Her second, team
4th team foul for the Broncos. Next one puts them in the bonus.
Again, the trap on the sideline. Boy, they are so opportunistic.
Big shot for Ermita! more.
She's living the dream.
Tying the ball game up at 42-all. First tie of the day.
And now the noise in this building is for blue, not for orange.
Continuing to rotate, mishandled there by Goodman. Chance to take the lead for the first time since the first quarter, and Corsdale rejects Hodgins.
Oregon State foul called on Tatum Corsdale, her second, team foul.
I like the foul. I mean, you can't let her coast in there and just get that side of the building even more excited. And this for Oregon State is one of those situations. This is why you miss Kat Tudor. Went out with the ACL injuries, has had surgery. She'll be back next year, but she's just one of those people who can knock down shots no matter what. But that's a team right there. They believe, and they've all been in the ball game.
Cody Presnell has gone to his bench. Everybody but one has scored, and getting to the free throw line all the more important as Boise State takes their first lead since it was 4-3 back in the first quarter. Goodman, the long-range shot won't fall. And if you're the Beavers, how much of that doubt is creeping in from...
It's not creeping in, it's moving in.
The Broncos on a 9-0 run.
The 13 seed on the road in Corvallis.
Broncos have never won a tournament game, looking to upset Oregon State, the host, in this opening round. And again, another opportunity for Boise State to go to the free throw line.
A little more attack mode than we saw in the first half. 5th team foul for Oregon State.
Luther going to the line, the leading scorer for the Broncos in Mountain West play. She, along with Hodgins, has been a great leader on this team with this junior class. Looking to be a wonderful future and could help stamp their legacy if they could come up with a win here.
But their defense is what's gotten them back in the ballgame. They have been inspired in this third quarter.
Slocum short on that one. Bowers grabs it. Christopher coming back the other way.
Oregon State, 6 third quarter points. 6. I think they have more turnovers than points in this quarter. Stagger screen.
Christopher with the backdoor cutting out. Lufer, the long three. And the rebound falls in the hands of the Beavers.
Oregon, 7 turnovers, 6 points in the third quarter.
Under a minute to go in this third quarter. And as Grimmick was trying to go back up, Christopher just got her hand in there. She commits the foul.
And Joe Grimmick, who really has been dominating of late. Last 5 games coming into this one, double-figure scoring, shooting well over 60%. Just 1 for 1 so far today.
Well, the road to the Frozen Four ices up tomorrow at 7 Eastern with the NCAA Men's Ice Hockey Selection Special on ESPNU and the ESPN app. Make sure you visit NCAA.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships. Grimmick misses both free throws there as Oregon State scoreless in the last 4.5 minutes.
And this is what happened in the Pac-12 tournament in Las Vegas. Number 11 seeded Washington hanging around, hitting shots, and then you just start believing you can do it.
What a move by Hodgins, but again, another trip down the floor and another opportunity to go to the charity stripe. Just looking for their shot and being aggressive.
But just the mindset. You can see the door close, but then find a way to open it yourself. And that's what your pivot foot, and just find that angle.
Well, we saw a couple of upsets yesterday with Indiana beating Texas and Buffalo taking down Rutgers. Those were 7-10 matchups. This one would be even bigger.
In this quarter, Boise State 9 of 10 from the free throw line. In the whole first half, 1 for 1.
And you saw the look of concern on the Beavers fans' faces. More than 5 minutes without a bucket as Boise State has gone on this 12-0 run.
The crispness, not there.
And Goodman bringing them back in it.
She needed that. Oregon State needed that.
Well, that was huge for Oregon State because that third quarter belonged to Boise State.
And just on cue, the crowd more relieved than excited.
Welcome back to Corvallis, a 2-point game as we head into the fourth quarter. We're joined by Oregon State head coach Scott Rueck. And Coach, after watching that third quarter, what is your message to your team going into final period?
Let's not forget who we are. You know, we're a team that shoots the three. We move the ball extremely well. We're stingy on defense. You know, they got control. Our offense was choppy. Credit their pressure. You know, but we've got to counter that pressure and attack and be aggressive to the rim. They shot free throws that quarter. We didn't. Not as many anyway. And so just don't forget who we are. Be aggressive. Have fun playing basketball.
Coach, 16 turnovers so far. That's uncharacteristic. What's the key to kind of cleaning that up?
The mindset, I think. You know, when you're passive, the defense comes after you. They're in passing lanes. You're back on your heels. That doesn't work mentally. You've got to stay forward, and you've got to be aggressive. And we need an inside presence. We need just to stay in attack mode. You know, and so that's the adjustment we've got to make.
All right, thanks, Coach. We appreciate your time.
All right, thank you.
And when you're thinking about this Boise State team and how they've been able to grab the lead in that third quarter, they outscored the Beavers 19-9. 10 trips to the free throw line. They hit all 10 of them.
Yeah, and the ability to take care of the ball. They average 14 turnovers a game. That's not a lot. They have three on the road here at Gill. It's been a phenomenal performance by Boise State, and this trapping continues.
Right there for Grimmick under the basket to tie it up.
Look, traps can either collapse you or you bust it out of there, and you're going to find some wide open people there. They finally find Grimmick. Yes, they're as loud as it feels.
Hermida just short. Oregon State has made it to the Sweet 16 in each of the last 3 seasons. And they're coming out in this fourth quarter trying to move on to the second round.
Kat Tudor on the bench, cheering her team on. Maddie Washington. All right, Slocum and Goodman on the floor at the same time.
Coleman, who's been quiet, had foul trouble early. She'll go to the line.
Coming out, doing what they did well in the first half. Move the basketball. Here comes the trap. Get rid of it. Swing it. Find Grimmick, 6'8". Easy pickings inside.
That breaks the 7-0 run for the Beavers with that free throw made from Ashanti Coleman.
She made a big difference coming out at halftime, getting back on the floor. Her presence, especially on the defensive end, impactful.
6'2" redshirt junior out of San Francisco, California, as Ryan Lupfer comes back on.
Don't you love Boise State? Like, you want to be on this team like, I'm ready, coach. Oh, you go and see what you can do. Come on, Tiff. Give us a little something. Travel.
And Scott Rueck talked about the pressure that the Broncos were applying in that third quarter.
We felt it.
And so do the fans, right? I mean, this is a great place to play. Oregon State is 15-1 at home during the regular season, and big shots like that from Ryan Luford. 1,000-point score for the Broncos.
Confidence flowing for Boise State. Chip on their shoulder. They don't feel like they're a 13.
Forsdale left wide open, misses it.
Guess who? Goodman is back. And this whole place is like, oh my God, Aaliyah's back. Aaliyah Goodman against Washington in the quarterfinals, 0 for 9 from 3, 0 for 10 for the ballgame. One bucket, they would have won. She didn't make anything. And now she's starting to heat up.
13 points, 4 of 7 from the floor. She's working on one end.
Pivik with the double-double, because she just rips this away and says, it's mine. Goodman. Happy bench, happy crowd.
Can't talk enough about Michaela Pivik and the job that she has done as Slocum, slow to get it in.
The crowd was counting for her.
As they are now, 5 to go on the shot clock, and Pivik will get 2 threes. Last 5 games, she's been averaging a double-double, 19 points, 10 rebounds.
We were talking to her in the break. She's the kind of player when you watch, especially on the way she rebounds, it feels like she's so much bigger.
The Sports Center tonight after Top Ranked Boxing with John Anderson and Steve Levy. They'll have all the must-see plays from John Morant and Murray State taking on Florida State. Plus, KD leads the Warriors against the Mavs, and UFC heavyweight champ Daniel Cormier joins the show to break down Pettis Thompson. Sports Center, big night Eastern, 9 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Oregon State at the free throw line, 9 of 17, 53%.
Normally 73% on the season. Jade Christopher with the and one.
She looked up, the lane was open, and she said, thank you very much. Head up, just that little hesitation, and Destiny's like, hey, where's the help? Coming into this game, last 2 games, 14 assists, just 4 turnovers.
And again, the Broncos as a team have modeled that in taking care of the basketball. Just 3 turnovers in this one.
They scored 18 points off Oregon State turnovers.
Goodman says, I'm going to put the team on my back and do what I have to do. Ties it up at 54.
How beautiful is it to make a shot and have confidence return?
Whipping it over. Hooper gets it to go.
Hold that follow through.
The junior out of Spokane averaging 11 points a game. Well, today, she's got a dozen.
And Grimmick's going to get in trouble when she brings the ball down. Her success is when she keeps it high. Fortunate to get Oregon State, fortunate to get the call there.
So Grimmick knocks down our first free throw of the game.
Boise has lost 4 games this entire season. Louisville, at Washington State, at Wyoming, and at Utah State.
Armida just short.
Just short. She's made so many big shots tonight, or this afternoon, excuse me. What time is it? Come on.
Well, here on the left coast, it's about 4:20.
It's like basketball time. It's just all mushy.
Pivik with her foot on the line. In and out. Christopher brings it up the court. Takes it all the way to the top. Won't go. Looper says, let me go at it again. It's just off.
It's like a heavyweight boxing match.
This one going back and forth. After we didn't see many lead changes or ties in that first half. It's a seesaw battle. Nice bounce pass. Just missed from Coleman.
Oh, the heartbreak.
4.5 to go from Corvallis. Both teams trying to move on to the second round. Boise State leading by 2.
The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
The chase is on for the confetti. Only one team will be crowned a national champion next month in Tampa. 40 Presnell and his crew trying to find their first win in the NCAA tournament. 0 for 5. The winner of this one will go on to play the 5 seed Gonzaga on Monday.
And we can't say it enough. And player after player, coach after coach said to us yesterday at practice, it's no longer okay just to make the tournament. We want to win. We want to move on.
And that's a sentiment that the Broncos have said all season long. They feel like they should be here. And Riley Lufer is one of those players who have been great leaders for Boise State. Says, we should be here. This is where we belong. But now they've got to come up with that signature win. Thus far, an upset brewing here.
Be the biggest upset of the tournament so far. A 13 leading a 4.
We saw Missouri State, the 11 seed, take down DePaul earlier. This would be huge. And Scott Rueck's team again has advanced to the Sweet 16 the last 3 seasons, made that Final Four run back in 2016. Goodman just lets it fly and somehow gets it to go.
Okay.
The Pac-12 sixth player of the year ignited the crowd. Boy, that was almost an answer from Lufer on the other end.
Just right back at you.
Yeah. And they're trying to get the ball in the hands of number 1, Aaliyah Goodman. Running point for the Beavers. Just over 3 to go.
So Slocum sits as Goodman plays. High-low.
We can't talk enough about Aaliyah Goodman, though.
18 points. 3 of 6 from distance. And this just isn't distance. It's big-time distance. And the reaction. Yeah. Aaliyah Goodman went to the George Fox basketball camp when Scott Rueck was coaching at George Fox.
He turned that program into a national title contender, won the championship in 2009.
2 coaches in this game that coached a long time in NAIA. One big and then got the promotion, and we don't see it happen a whole lot in Division I where you go to NAIA and you come to this level and you have success, but both these coaches have achieved just that.
And Oregon State, 3 of 12 from the free throw line in the second half.
10 of 21 overall. Now they are under 50%. Dancing with the devil when you do that.
Lufer thought about it. Carey on that one. Just kind of lost the handle on it.
Just thinking a little too much instead of just doing.
And obviously, Scott Rueck is riding the hot hand of Aaliyah Goodman. Surprised to not see Destiny Slocum on the floor as well.
No, I think if you haven't watched a lot of Oregon State, you would be surprised, but this is his go-to lineup down the stretch. Turnover again.
15 now for the Beavers. Great bounce pass. Coleman just short. She continues to alter shots. Ermita!
And the smiles on the face of Boise State. I mean, this is a team that is having a blast, and they are believing. They're like at the playground calling next. Don't you feel it? I mean, she's just like...
I absolutely do, because when you just watch how excited everybody is when a shot goes down.
You just love that.
Let's clap it up.
There's almost under 2 minutes to go in this ball game, and you just hit a huge shot, and you're like, let's go.
We'll step aside quickly from Corvallis, and Boise State has got an upset brewing. In Corvallis, one of the toughest places to play in all of women's college basketball. The 13 seed Boise State on top, 62-58. Mary Murphy, Tiffany Green here with you. And that first half certainly was Oregon State. But since then, straight out the gate strong from third quarter on, it's been Boise State.
Exactly right. And they have seized the moment. You saw the difference in the body language of those two, of the side-by-sides of the huddle. An enthused team, let's go, seizing the moment, playing to win. An Oregon State team still trying to figure it out. You're almost at the 2-minute mark. You can't play not to lose this ball game. You've got to get out there and get back to what you do.
We've seen some fantastic finishes in the tournament so far, and this one is shaping up to be equally as awesome. Grimmett, again, tough to defend, 6'8".
We talked about the bag of tricks of Scott Rueck on out-of-bounds plays. You saw it there. The quick hitter. Let's get it back in our court.
Ermita, the senior, coming up with shot after shot. 13 points in the second half.
But how about the decision making to see 6'8" and go, you know what? No worries, I'll go mid-range.
McWilliams has it bounce in and out.
Huge miss.
Boise State searching for their first win in program history in the NCAA tournament.
Ever.
They're 0 for 5. For a check there from Ermita.
Oregon State's got to go.
Under a minute.
Timeout.
And a timeout taken by the Beavers. So there are 2 timeouts remaining for Oregon State. As we take a look at tonight's Capital One rewarding performance.
You love to shoot threes. You like watching threes. Watch Boise State. Deep. A myriad of players. 9 to 24, 38% on the ball game. Dial it up and knock it down. Again and again and again. The confidence is just oozing out of these Broncos.
Gordy Presnell said, look, we want to take the best 3, and as you see the timeout situation remaining, 3 for Boise State, 2 for Oregon State.
The Beavers only have 2 team fouls, though. They gotta get that number up in a hurry.
Marta Ermita, the senior out of Madrid, Spain.
That's a travel.
Didn't call it. Pivot gets the points. And Boise State spins one of their 3 timeouts. So going into these huddles, a 30-second timeout. If you're Scott Rueck, what are you saying to your
foul, foul, and foul some more? But don't foul shooters. But get to them before they shoot.
And if you're Gordy Presnell, your team is 47.7 seconds away from pulling off an upset if they can hold on to this score. So how do you keep them calm?
One, you just gotta keep your composure, do what you've been doing, and just settle your team down and just keep them focused, because right now they are riding a wave.
Mountain West champions coming into their third straight NCAA title. Several Broncos fans made the trip from Boise.
Most important thing is to get it inbounded, then worry about running a play.
Trying to hold on to it, and Ermita tries to call for a timeout. She's awarded that timeout.
Boy, it was like she was on the balance beam, wasn't it? She was just about to tip off.
No correction. No timeout given.
About to fall out of bounds, and she's just like, please. And you see the timeout there. They don't give it to her.
45 seconds. Ermita gets it and is quickly fouled by Goodman.
And what does she immediately do? Look up at the scoreboard. What's the time and situation? What a game by the senior. 5'11" out of Madrid.
Just 3 team fouls, so Oregon State will have to commit another foul. Goodman once again. And they're going to try to get it in the hands, as you can see, of Ermita.
A couple games ago against Fresno State, 30 points, 10 rebounds, 6 of 9 from 3. It's a wonderful time of year.
That it is indeed. This time inbound to Rachel Bowers. Got a foul quickly.
We're going to let it roll. At a 10-second differential.
Steal by Michaela Pivot. Pivot has it stolen away by Lupfer. And they call it a jump ball possession arrow in favor of the Broncos. Wow.
This goes from, oh no, if you're Boise State, oh yes, Oregon State, to stay in the play. Bat it around. We're not giving you anything easy.
The junior, Michaela Pivot, doing everything she can, laying it on the line for the Beavers. But this is back and forth. Boise State called the timeout. A foul puts both teams in the bonus. Or either team in the bonus. So 19.1 seconds left.
From the greatest moment of your life if you're on this Boise State team. Every out-of-bounds play they've ever had, they've had to run here.
And they quickly foul Ermita, so Ermita will go to the line and shoot 2.
Well, tomorrow's Sunday, but right now there's a lot of silent prayers going on in this building that these free throws do not go down.
Broncos have been so good from the line. 13 of 14, her first attempt falls. Slocum checking back in. And 2 critical free throws there. In this second half, Boise State has just been on point. 3-point shooting from the free throw line.
Watch the reaction after the make. I mean, a different team came out at halftime. They were flying around. They were trapping. They were so aggressive. I think Coleman played a big part of that because she sat for so much of that second quarter. But you could feel, like it was palpable as we sit here. We are going to do this. We are not a 13 seed. We are going to show people what we've been talking about.
And for Scott Ruick's group, who has 2 seniors on this team, he said he wanted his team to be aggressive, but also come out playing, having fun. And that's been Boise State from what we've seen.
Yeah, but
it's just been loose and.
But I think once Oregon State lost the lead, I think you start gripping a little bit and you start thinking negative thoughts, and it just doesn't flow. And the momentum and the belief in what's going to happen in this ball game, it's playing out right in front of us.
Timeout allows the advance of the basketball as Boise State closing in on what could be their first ever NCAA tournament win.
4 turnovers. 5 turnovers for the entire game by Boise. Getting to the line, making your free throws. 23 points off turnovers.
They've got to get a shot up here quickly. Pivik trying to go to work, and she delivers. You try to go for the steal, and then foul.
Unless you can get the tie-up.
Oh, boy.
And it is Oregon State ball.
The possession arrow in favor of the Beavers. And 1 timeout remaining for both teams. 2 points separate Boise State from Oregon State, and Scott Ruick spins his final timeout.
Indecision. A lot of size. And Pivik again, right smack dab in the middle of it.
Now, do you credit her with the timeout as she was calling it with the ball between her legs at that point?
Well, the ref is right there, so for whatever reason, I don't know if you're sitting on a ball, if it's possession or not.
Big moment here. You said all game long, Mary, that Scott Ruick is great with drawing up out of bounds play. But if you're looking at Gordy Prisno, what's he saying?
Just don't let him shoot a 3. I mean, no O boards. Win or go to overtime, but you don't want to lose right now.
And who do you want taking the shot for Oregon State?
Let's see who they come out on the floor with.
Goodman has been hot. Michaela Pivik is always a solid choice.
So there's no Grimmick. So you're looking at Destiny on a drive. You love Pivik on the baseline. Corsdale for the 3. And, of course, Aaliyah Goodman just about anywhere beyond the arc.
Here we go on the inbound. Katie McWilliams is fouled with 8.5 seconds left. So she'll shoot 2.
The quick hitter. Little alley-oop to McWilliams, curling around. Little tip play, a lot of size on her.
But you see Ruick drawing that out of the timeout, going to one of his seniors. She's got Final Four experience, so she knows what this moment feels like.
6'2", great size.
And knocks down both of them. Clutch free throws.
And an 81% free throw shooter.
Katie McWilliams, the senior out of Salem, Oregon, bringing her team back to tie it up at 66 all. Boise State now with their final timeout spent. Don't you just love this? I mean, this is everything that you would want.
Well, this is what Cinderella's about. This is what the tournament's about. This is about favored teams at home. People think you're going to roll, and a 13 seed from Boise State and the Mountain West says, no, we are good. We want to win. Our seniors don't want to go home.
And interestingly enough, it was Gordy Presnell who said, we have been goal setting all year long, really focusing our way on picking up a seed, but also playing in that neutral game. He said, okay, well, fine. This is the hand that we're dealt. We're going to go here, but we're not just going to be satisfied with being here. We want to win this. And for Oregon State, they trailed 66-62 with 17 seconds remaining in this one, and they've tied it up.
Pivik was in the middle of a lot of it. Joe Grimmick back on the floor at 6'8".
Checking the time on the clock. The bucket won't fall, and we're going to overtime.
Oregon State just dodged. I mean, they dodged big time. And they've got a chance in overtime to recover. For Boise, I think it's got to be crushing. And you got to get back in that huddle and get your mojo back in a hurry.
All right, we'll toss it over to the studio with Maria as this one's tied up at 66 all going to OT.
I love it, Tiffany. Another tie ball game leading to an OT. That's our third in the first round. Iowa State rolling against New Mexico State, though. It looks like the Cyclones will get it done in the first round.
Oh, were they ever rolling? Offensively terrific, 9-10 three-pointers, very good inside. They did a number on New Mexico State offensively.
Yeah, Bridget Carlton, the Big 12 Player of the Year, leading scorer, 23 points in that one for the Cyclones. In the Greensboro region, it's the #1 overall seed. Baylor Lady Bears just laying it down on Abilene Christian. Nothing short of what we expected. Most of the starters now pulled out of the game for the final minute 24.
I mean, it's a Baylor team that game in and game out dominates in the paint. They have 40 points in the paint here tonight, but they've complemented that beautifully from the three-point line. Maria, they're 9 of 13 in the game.
Wow, impressive. Lauren Cox has 14, Kalani Brown 17. In the Chicago region, Stanford, the 2 seed, hosting in Maples Pavilion against UC Davis. And again, we're seeing the 2 seed doing exactly what they should do in the first round.
Yeah, Stanford's looked good from the jump of this game. They're shooting the basketball well. Alana Smith has had a terrific game so far with 21 points. Their backcourt continues to play well.
Yes, and so far for Stanford, it has been easy pickings in their first round game. Coach Vanderveer has to be very happy with where her team is. Let's get you back out to Oregon State so we can get this overtime on the road.
Well, this one could not be decided in regulation as we're going to overtime. 66 all between the 13 seed Boise State and the 4 seed Oregon State. That was a wild kind of final 2 minutes in that one in regulation, Mary.
You know what it is, if you're Oregon State? It's like you're fighting for your life. You're like, you don't want it to end. What do I need to do to get this nightmare to end? It's like you're laying in bed, you've got to get out of it, and you got to get out of it fast. And somehow they woke up.
Boise State searching for their first ever NCAA tournament win. Meanwhile, Oregon State has made it to the Sweet 16 each of the last 3 seasons. The winner of this one will go on to play the 5 seed Gonzaga on Monday. Well, the observations, especially in that second half, it was Boise State trailed by 8 in the second half and came roaring back. They had the lead, and then with 17 seconds to go, Oregon State down by 2. They rallied back in this one to tie it up.
Numbers.
Hermida has been hot all day, misses the shot. Rachel Bowers with the board, coming back out. Brady Hodgins for 3. Well, they like to let it fly from Boise.
I just love how they play. I love the happiness. They're in the middle of the biggest, most important 5 minutes of their lives, and they're just like, bring it on.
Both teams have only seen overtime once in the regular season. Oregon State down St. Mary's in double overtime earlier in the year, while Boise State got a win over Colorado State back on February 27th.
How about Corsdale on the boards? 14 rebounds. She's got 4 assists.
She's also altered a few shots with some blocks as well.
Oh, and it feel like a 10-point lead. I mean, it was looking dire. Stagger, hesitation.
Hermida just short, but looked like a pass to Bowers.
Now, how about this? You start overtime with your 6'3" freshman from Canyon High School on the floor. Talk about confidence.
Bowers coming up with 2 big free throws right now. Knocks down the first of 2, ending that 6-0 run from Oregon State. Tied again at 68, Slocum. They tried to force it in to Corsdale, and Bowers got a little bit of a block, the ball in the forearm of Corsdale, the freshman.
So physical inside. Verse it. Corsdale just plows through Boise's defender. Nothing called, play on.
I'll tell you, to close out regulation, Oregon State was able to knock down some critical free throws. Katie McWilliams hit the 2 to tie it, and then Corsdale knocking down a couple more there. Coleman not known for threes. That one pops in and out.
You don't need a sign here that says pump up the volume, because the folks here know how to do it on their own.
They draw an average crowd of about 5,000.
Wow, the swing. Searching for an open shooter.
They go down to Bowers, and Bowers just loses the handle on it. And Beavers get the ball back, and Destiny Slocum helping to expand the lead.
Just her 6th point of the game. On that baseline, you got to respect Grimmick, so you just can't commit. Big bucket.
Nearly 2.5 has gone by, and when you're looking at the body language of both of these teams, what are you reading from them?
Confidence for Oregon State and kind of shock disbelief what just happened if you're Boise State.
Slocum going in once more.
You saw it. You saw the lane. She said, I'm taking it. Set it up and say bye-bye.
And they're continuing to go to the freshman 25 in blue, Rachel Bowers.
So smart. Take that 8-foot jump shot. Stay in attack mode if you're Oregon State.
This time Hodgins is guarding Slocum.
Set it up.
Corsdale at the top of the key, taking it off the dribble, passing it over. And Grimmick just couldn't hold tight to it. So now an opportunity here. A good hold if you're Boise State are very fortunate. To try to come within 2, perhaps 1.
Got to find the shooters. If you're Oregon State defensively, all they're saying is, I'm not leaving the shooters.
Amita coming in close. can't get it to fall, and a foul was called on Grimmick. Pushing the back, and so Bowers will go to the line. But now, we talked about before, Mary, that great atmosphere from Dill and these loud fans with the pressure now seemingly placed on Boise State as they're trailing. Do you still like this environment?
I do like the environment because it's the pressure you're putting on yourself because you know what you need to do. You know what needs to happen. And you probably don't even hear this crowd. As much as we all hear it, they're so in what they're doing, it's not a part of what's going on for them.
The Broncos continuing to be mightily solid from the free throw line.
1 for 1 in the first half. And since then, they have been scintillating. 18 of 19. Steal. Bowers has been terrific.
The freshman coming in, playing some key minutes for Gordy Presnell as he has rotated several players in this ball game. Bowers has scored the last 6 Boise points. Who else can come through? Ramita has led the way. The 3 won't fall. And the big rebound by Bowers.
Freshman, we're going to overtime in the biggest game ever. We'd like you to really have a great finish here.
Does she even know just how big this moment is? Coleman short. Bowers once more. Wow.
Who are you, Rachel Bowers from Newhall, California? Missed shot by Coleman. Just sneak in there. Be physical. Just draw some contact on Grimmick.
Bowers has 10 points in 21 minutes of play. And her first miss from the charity stripe. She was 6 of 6 before that. Misses both there. Last touch by Oregon State.
The people in orange don't agree with the call. The people in blue are loving it.
So the officials will go to the scorers table to review that. They can review it to see who touched the ball last. It almost looked like Coleman came over the back and may have forced that. Maybe
could be Grimmick.
Grimmick, yeah. I was going to say, right? There.
Boy, talk about football being a game of inches when you're at the goal line. Right now, this game is coming down to inches as well.
So officials crew, Michael Price, Natasha Cammey, Cheryl Blue.
Again, Oregon State coming off just a disastrous Pac-12 tournament in Las Vegas. They lose to number 11 seeded UW on a last-second unbelievable shot by Missy Peterson. And they're just trying to get all that negativity out of their brain and finish this game.
They had 14 days off between that game in Las Vegas to hosting this first-round game against Boise State. So the official review, they're looking at to see who touched it last. It was ruled Boise State ball on the floor. We'll see if that holds.
Oregon State has played 2 overtime games this year. Double overtime, Arizona State. They lost that one here. Their only loss at home this season. And then at Arizona in an incredible game, they win that one. Another one in double OT, 65-60. Boise beat Colorado State at Colorado State in overtime, so some experience in these situations.
One more look at it here. Both Coleman and Grimmick got a hand on it. Who touched it last? So tough to see. Or make the call again.
And then you got Corsdale underneath that mess as well.
This a better angle. Looked like Coleman and Grimmick going for it at the same time. And I don't know, now I'm starting to think.
If I were the betting person, I'd say it's off Boise because of the forward motion by Coleman. We'll be able to tell.
This one has been as entertaining as they come, Mary. So the review result goes in favor of Oregon State. With a 2-point lead and 32.6 seconds remaining, they'll get the ball.
Full court pressure by Boise.
Goodman gets it up. 2-on-1 situation. Pivik said, I'll try to take it all the way. She draws the foul.
It looked like Boise was trying to foul, and then once they were able to get it out of there, some open space for Pivik.
The one thing that Oregon State has shored up down the stretch is their free throw shooting. 10 of 21 to start. Since then, they've hit their last 7.
It makes a difference, and that's the understatement of the day.
Pivik hits both. Boise State spins a timeout.
Pivik, you could be up 20 or down 20. The expression does not change. 20 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists.
Oregon State, one of 6 Pac-12 teams in the tournament. For Boise State out of the Mountain West, this has been a record year for them in program history, having had the most wins overall and in conference. They're down 4.
Really, it's a very similar situation that Oregon State had at the end of regulation, down 4. But Broncos now out of timeouts. Oregon State has 1 remaining. And that great shooting, that free and easy approach has just sort of evaporated in overtime.
So if you're Boise State, what do you look to get here out of this timeout?
I think you're just looking for the best, quickest shot you can get. They're such good three-point shooters. They love it. Like, you just got to go to your money. If you can get a 2, get a 2. But get something and get it going.
Luther, who's been solid with a big bucket there. The trifecta pulling the Broncos within 1.
You are who you are. Run that set and let it fly. Confidence. Give me the ball, get out of the way. This thing's going up. Christopher, great job of setting her up. You can see Pivik playing catch-up as she kind of got hooked up on that screen, a tidge.
Wow, big buckets there.
You better believe it.
From Luther. 3 of 8 from long distance, 14 points. And Goodman with 2 important free throws on the way.
Again, Boise State, no timeouts.
Oregon State been money from the free throw line.
You are on your own. No coach to tell you what to do.
Luther going at it again. Banks it, no good. And then Corisdale is fouled, but that one almost fell for Luther. And did she get fouled? Did you see some contact on the way up?
Boy, it was a strong contest, wasn't it?
Yeah. So Corisdale could help put it out of reach for Boise State.
The ability for Oregon State to get to overtime and start making free throws. All the difference.
10 of 10. 5-point advantage. As Oregon State holds on. They survived the scare from the 13-seed Boise State Broncos. Tip your hat to this group out of the Mountain West. The two seniors on this group, Joyce Harrell and Marta Ermita, who did a great job this evening. 22 points for the Spaniard. But at the end, it comes down to the final score, and that one's in favor of Oregon State. So they will face off against Gonzaga Monday. 80-75 in OT goes to Oregon State. For Mary Murphy and our entire crew, I'm Tiffany Green.